NRG versus Torqued, ESL 1, Belo Horizonte, Qualifier, Map 3, Part 2 of the investigation into figuring out how Torqued won the series. And it all starts with a knife. Inferno is a map that NRG are very good at. I'm very excited to watch this map. I have a lot to say about NRG's Inferno. I watched all of their Inferno demos in ECS. They do some really cool stuff, but they didn't win this map. I've also never seen Torqued play Inferno, so I have a lot of questions. And I can't wait to talk about some of the stuff that they do or that they maybe don't do that they should have done. That is to say NRG, because they have stuff, lots of it. B-stack for Torqued. 3 players here. All the T's have decided to move up into the stack, but the P2Ks are out. Kusta's popping heads, but as he comes to the right side of quad, Cirque meets him. Construction control is theirs, the boost is out, Fugly has the information, it's all on steel. A great one, wow. I think the biggest part of that was the fact that he stayed up there. I don't know if it was surprising, but I think if Fugly hadn't peeked for a while, he probably would have thought, no way, Steel stays up there. That's kind of insane. 3 pistols in a row we've seen so far, by the way. NRG won both on Cobble. If you watched part 1, if you haven't watched part 1, go watch part 1. That was an interesting one for me, because that, in my opinion, is potentially an off map for NRG, but Inferno, no excuses. Inferno is a map NRG should be beating a team at Torqued's level on every time.
Just peeking mid, dude. I'm so over it.
They're so much better than us.
You hear the salt? Do you hear that? That matters. I mean, if you come into a game, you're losing to a team you shouldn't be losing to, you get tilted. But then you remember you've got legends on the other team who are actually starting to get that good again. You gotta swallow your pride. Gotta respect your opponent if they're beating you. I think, at least. And you can believe every team does that. Every team, every player, including myself. If I feel like a player is not good or is washed up, it's like a personal attack to lose to them. You know, it feels like they're personally attacking me on an individual level. And that hurts my ego. And it hurts their egos. It hurts everyone's egos. You can have the ego before and after, but not during. During, you play your best, give them as much respect as they earn, because a team can be disrespected, but only after you've put them in a position where they can't get away with quote-unquote stupid pushes. They aren't just peeking you and headshotting you instantly. You know, you can start disrespecting a team when the rounds are starting to come a little bit more easily. When everything you're doing is working, then you can start pushing a little bit more. Sometimes that's good. Putting a team on tilt, I mean, there's merit to that. So anyway, NRG decided to buy early here. Okay. Sideways off the coffin, Falmus to the face of Ethan. 2 last players remaining have AKs. Cirque hits a double entry. Bomb will get planted. Banana control is retained. Steel is going to try to make his way through a smoke. That's a kill Fugly should get. I mean, that's a very disadvantage. Wow, man. Just playing a spot. Just waiting for his teammates. And Cirque comes as the cleanup crew to kill a guy on Banana. And Steel's just there. Steel's making all kinds of great plays in these last 2 maps, actually. Read like a book. But sometimes it does come down to 1 kill. Fugly gets a kill on Banana, their odds improve tremendously, you know? That's an ace on the turn. It changes things up, because Banana's probably the best spot that you can be in the 1v1. You can play the spot so many different ways, delay for as long as possible, make it hardest for the CT to try to stick that bomb, especially when it's planted default. NRG on the ego again. Inferno's a really interesting map right now because, first of all, hats off to Valve on this map. They made a map, it was a remake, and when they remade it, they remade what was maybe talked about as the map that has had the greatest CSGO matches of all time. And as soon as it came out, it was pretty damn good. That's the first time Valve has ever done that with a map. So hats off to them. People don't really talk about that. People focus on the negative stuff, all the maps that, you know, are monstrosities like Cobblestone. But Inferno, it's beautiful, it plays well, and it's becoming so popular. So popular to the point that a lot of teams are really good at it. That's the one problem with specializing on Inferno at the moment. Good op trades. It's actually very risky to peek all the way down banana with an op sitting behind you, not holding that angle safely. So you could say Swag went a little bit wide there, and all NRG did was be patient. Breeze will constantly take over the halls. A very dominant round from NRG as Torque totally fall apart in their default before a minute up and 3 people are already dead. This could have been prevented by not peeking banana.
Was Kev doing a one-way halls?
What's that?
Was Kev doing a one-way halls, Brax?
Yeah, he was.
Said was AZK doing a one-way in halls. And it's at this point where there's a difference between a 2v4 with 30 seconds left and a 2v4 with a minute 10. Because with a minute 10, they can take so much time to be careful and patient about what site they go to that they can continue to push their odds ever so slowly in their favor as they encroach into a bomb site that is a terrorist. When there's 20 or 30 seconds left and they have to make a snap decision, you can sometimes get away with a quick gamble stack because they don't have time to go for that information. So that's why it's really important to delay, especially delay that first or second kill for as long as possible as a CT, to make it most uncomfortable for the terrorists who have to start skipping some angles when they come to take map control. Oh, I can't clear Cubby, I don't have enough time. You know, you've got to force tease into that position to make more risks than they need to. You know, if a round is 5 minutes long and you can clear every single angle, the terrorists should always win. So you try to almost emulate that as much as possible. But either way, NRG are probably feeling really confident at the moment. They did their basic stuff. Breeze always goes halls. Cirque goes for banana control with the op. They don't even have to move. They don't even have to leave their choke points. They stayed in halls, they stayed at bottom banana, both got kills. So what happens now? As always favors CT to go for early banana control if you have utility. Sometimes it's not worth eating the counter grades, sometimes the teams want to put too much pressure on it. But if teams want to rush, nades all the way down banana do so much AoE damage that it's always good to throw them, especially if you have that economic advantage. Great flash at mid, and a kill comes of it as well. So that was one way to trade information. That's something that I talked about before where other teams won't do. So here Torque gave up banana control, but then they also decided to peek at mid. They maintain a crossfire, and this is why coming up lane is very unfavorable for terrorists. It's because Pit is so strong. You also have what was once the best Pit player in North America, one of the best in the world, AZK, and your crossfire on site, which is incredibly strong as well. I actually don't know why they got put in that position. So they went to clear out banana, they had it, they came back to mid really quickly. And Torque caught a really good timing where some information was probably heard at B, so they decided to take a peek mid. It was a perfect flash, and they knew exactly what was going on. So they got in the middle of a setup, which can be extremely off-putting. And even though that round was really good from NRG previously, suddenly they're reset. I don't even know if this is worth the buy. I guess this might be worth the buy for NRG. You consider the 5-1, you consider that if Torque loses this round, they're going to be in a really bad position. Pistols are strong, etc., etc. And they'd have to double save if not. But those Molotovs have pretty great coverage. However, it's 4-on-3 now. Pollo and Steel set up in CT. The smoke goes down on banana. Tells NRG that they're planning to come heavily through CT, but they have a counter smoke as well. So now they're going to force the CTs to make a really unfavorable play. The one angle that was left over, that reverse boost in CT spawn, was the only thing that Ethan had to watch because they had that smoke down. So that was the perfect response to Torque throwing a retake smoke on banana early. And yeah, so that round does pay off in dividends. 4 alive, up. I actually thought the mollies on banana were quite good, but it seems like maybe they threw them a little bit late. When it's fully bloomed, you can take whatever, 50 to 70 damage running through the entire thing. So there's a big difference between, it's like a split second difference between you throwing it too early or too late. Whoa, Steel's actually gonna walk out of the smoke at mid. That was so risky. I don't know if they have anyone looking down banana, but they had top banana control. Oh, they're on the eco. Okay. Right. They're on the force. So they try to do something really aggressive. I was like on a gun round to come through the mid smoke like that. Even though they technically still bought, so after the kill goes down, it's actually another lane take. Really don't like these. Poyo is still in a pretty good spot, but after taking contact, not getting the kill, I think he was very lucky to even get that one. Two people running up. Breeze in the corner of the site instantly gets CZ down. Kusta going ham with the CZ. And AZK from the pit again, somehow. Wow. So the play there is, when they hear a player start to plant the bomb, they know that with either even numbers or a man advantage, if a player on the other team is putting the bomb down, number one, they know exactly where that plant sound's coming from on the site. Number two, that player's hands are busy. So for a few seconds there, you have the man advantage. For 4 seconds, actually, you have the man advantage, and you know where the other guy is too. It's like the wall hacks plus man advantage. Think about that. So they decided to push on that. And with all those things considered, plus they don't have as much utility, and they're on this force, and they were all ready to go. They decided to push through. Now, it's easy for me to analyze that from the perspective of Torque to say this is why they won, when really Breeze could have gotten his frag on Kusta, and Kusta wouldn't have gotten 2 kills, and then it's a very different round. But both those things can happen. This is just a rationale behind Torque's play. But seriously, one frag could have very easily changed all that. It seems like Torque, when they know the other team is either forcing or not spending a lot, they play passive setup on B. In those previous rounds, I like that they decided to go and re-peek top mid. I don't... What were this? What was this? What were those smokes? Did Steel just get 2 kills rotating through CT and there was no smoke there? Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this one more time. It's kind of confusing to see how Steel rotating in was able to have those 2 free frags in that open line of sight into CT. I wonder if a smoke was missed here. That's kind of the big question for me personally. They're going to set everything up. Swag's got his crosshair held nice and wide as he normally does. Full vision on CT spawn as well. Great spot to defend from flashes. Everyone boosted in tricky spots actually. It looks like a CT smoke is thrown. No. It's just not. Yet, Cirque had his smoke for the molly on site. You know what might have happened? They threw the one smoke in front of oranges, they threw the one smoke at spools, and then they decided to swing on CT. But you could clearly see the one hole in that as if someone's opping emo. That's why I could see them perfectly at like a very deep angle as well. Very strange round. But we move forward. Eco for NRG as they congregate back towards B once again. Single flash in the hands of Daps. Pop goes over. It's fairly shallow. They decide to run across the entirety of the site, push into construction, and pinch Kusta together. It actually works out extremely well. I think this would be a tough spot to be in. Somehow, though, Cirque gets full blind and steals there. And his janitor cosplay, cleaning the situation up. 3 takes good. Torqued win again. I think if Kusta doesn't get pinched in construction, if Cirque's able to get that op before they get to construction, he can shoot anybody coming in through CT. It's really difficult for the CTs who rotate in from Speedway to smoke off that position and help them get in without also worrying about construction and so on and so forth. And that can be the beginning and end of the round. They probably got a little bit fortunate with their flashes. They were good. Steel's gonna be really making Cirque mad there with an op shot down mid. Cirque's like, oh man, like, you know, like, I didn't get to fight that the way I could have. You know, if I had my tools. He didn't get to take that op 1v1. He had to take it with a rifle. But I mean, a huge part of this game is economy. So looks like they're gonna do their flash pop out halls. Daps over at mid. Probably a chimney flash. Don't know if they're going to coordinate on this. Fugly is going to be the entry man here. AZK turns properly. Sits in his position. Doesn't fall off the balcony, which a lot of people do. That can make quite a difference. Poyo and AZK have been absolutely stalwart in these positions, holding it down versus lane takes. It just seems like Torque to have such good read on everything that's about to happen. Seriously, and it's on T side too, that NRG have so much good stuff, and they've won probably, I want to say 4 Inferno matches in ECS this season, something like that. They won all of them. Goodwill buy from NRG, and things are getting bleak. Wouldn't be surprised if people start turning on each other. They're actually doing a repeat, rinse and repeat of the last round on the eco. Halls pop, they're going to execute a little bit more quickly. Poyo here at lane, tries to control the M4 and does a pretty good job. Makes up for the fact that AZK couldn't get one for himself, and because Torqued have 2 ops on the retake, you wonder if this round is possible. Swag may have thrown that Molotov a bit early. Somehow Steel in these retakes. I mean, Steel and Inferno retakes. Name a better duo. Am I right? Wow. Yeah, I mean, I guess an op's not a problem if you don't use it. Maybe Swag through the Molotov. Kind of backwards rationalizing here, because to me it looked like Moto gets smoked out. Why throw the Molotov so early? And I think someone was in time to peek lane just after the Molotov went down, so maybe that incentivizes somebody who's a terrorist who might have been sitting on default to go and try to hold boiler or maybe even peek. Steel wins the straight up op duel with Cirque. I mean, I know I'm friends with Steel, but I swear I didn't want to come into this with any bias. I'm here for the whole team. I'm here for the upset, really. And I'm a huge fan of NRG, but he has been making some fantastic plays on top of hitting
That guy's got fucking dicked on.
almost all his important shots as well. It's really impressive. Because, you know, anybody who wins their op duel with Cirque, if it's at ECS, I give him big ups. Cirque's like the most dangerous opera right now. Wow. And holy shit, your boy is 20-7. Kusta, 16-5. Unreal. It's crazy the impact that AZK and Poyo have had. So only has 3 kills, and he's had kind of a weird game. But your team has 11 rounds, so it's only like it only matters when you need it. But Poyo and AZK have been a great combo on lane. It seems like the communication is really good, or they've just talked about stuff a lot because they always are in the correct positions, using their counter grenades properly, and handling the crossfire at lane the best. Sticking in this double op setup, but the flash is good enough to get the op shot off, which is nice from NRG. This flash is also good, man. Man, oh man. I think the worst part for Ethan is you won't even find out that Kusta was blind for that. Just because Kusta was like in the smoke, so he might not have really seen him. But he was full blind. Fugly last one up. Everyone deciding to push. They still do so methodically, taking different positions and different fights. Last round of the half. Again, another round where NRG have to force up. One thing I would like to do is count how many times Cirque was able to op, because that's a big sticking point, I think, on any map for NRG. It might be the case that NRG have a problem playing from behind, because they've made so many force-ups. I'm like, I really don't remember them having to be in that position ever in the season. So maybe they need to talk about saving more. But at the same time, they clearly seem upset that they're losing to Torqued, as we heard from some of the comms earlier on. So, you know, if it's tilt, it should just really be on the IGL to let your team be tilted. No, let the stars get mad, but don't make decisions based off that, right? Don't just start forcing because people are getting impatient if you think your team will lose. And you know that you've spent so much time talking about all your rifles.
Sorry.
Kev wins this. Kev wins this.
Oh my god. It was a good play from AZK. Got the first kill and a nice shot on the second guy as well. Could have died to either of them if he didn't play that smoke properly because he's been up on Balk over and over again. Second half starts, NRG only have 2 rounds. Quick play up mid from Torqued. Bomb goes down. All of the pistol shots ring off. A Breeze is having a heyday from ult.
Holy fuck. How the fuck did you just kill me? Holy shit.
Holy shit is right.
Random.
Random. 3-piece from the young star. Pretty good spots to come back on, but the peak couldn't be tighter from AZK. Spots looking up and suddenly AZK is now in a disadvantaged position. They double push him into pit. Good play. He needed to hit just basically 2 insane headshots right away, or would have even died to body shot damage. Key players in that round are obviously Breeze and Ethan, who's had a stellar few months so far. Ethan's up there in the 110 plus ADR. I don't know if he's still there, but about halfway through the season, he was like 110 ADR average. And for those of you who don't know, like 100 is exceptional. 100 is kind of necessary for your best players to have, but 100 is still exceptional. We're seeing a lot of teams just try to push down mid. I mean, it's not a new thing that people do on Inferno, but on the NT ecos to just go for a quick pinch. If you throw your nades down, you know the other guys are at a nade disadvantage. It's very powerful to channel your nades all into this one area that Fogely's looking at now by the stairs. So whether or not they go banana or if one person peeks mid, they just all get hurt. And it's not as risky as it looks. Like, it's not as like, it doesn't mean that you're tilted if you run down mid. The other thing is that because the rotations are so demanding on Inferno, this is just like one of the longest rotations. It's just, oh, fuck. And especially if you need to get back here. One way to combat that is by pushing. Another way to combat that is by overstacking. But you can only overstack if you have the information. So that's why everyone goes for bottom B smoke. Then they will leave one person here. But they don't have an op to do that, so it's not quite as easy. Daps is going to fall back into the site, it looks like. What's he doing exactly here? I think he's asking for a boost. Could have done that yourself. But maybe... Ethan's actually going to play right with him. Don't like this very much from NRG. Playing too passively on CT side is, in my opinion, a big no-no. Especially with a minute left. So at this point, I was talking to a DDK about this at ECS. But you think about the fog of war here, right? Literally... They can see, because they can see over top of oranges, so they can see this. So this is the amount of information they have. They can see into the end of halls, and then Breeze can peek down lane sometimes. So they can see this, and Cirque is not peeking that far, so he's probably see something like this. So all of this area is for the terrorists, including halls. That means there could be 5 terrorists here, there could be 5 terrorists here, and the CTs would not know. If you get in the site and you trade out 2 for 2 and there's 3 down, you have a disadvantage on Inferno. So both sites are really hard to retake. So what you want to be able to do is leave somebody, let's say you leave someone on banana, take banana control like they did early on, have an op play right here, and spot down the entire way. And then if the op sees someone and takes a shot, so you leave one person to go to A, someone stays at Arch, crossfire here, and one person watching halls, something or some similar setup like that, or 1 CT, 1 library, whatever it is. And then if they go A, then it's no one else's fault but the 4 guys at A if you can't hold it. If they go B, however, you find out here. So that means that even if your Opera gets insta one-tapped from the bottom of banana, your Arch guy can at least make the rotate back before the Ts are all grouped up and then ready to go. But that's like worst case situation, it probably won't even happen. What will normally happen is a flash will come over from spawn. They throw it over like this. This guy gets blind. Op falls back. Op might sit here. Op might now sit here and look here because he got flashed off his last angle. Another flash comes over from B. Then he falls back to CT, or he falls back to, should probably actually fall back to quad because they might execute. So he'll come back here, and then the rotate will come in. But by the time the first flash goes off, CTs are already rotating. So that's what the game should look like. On paper, almost for both sides most of the time. And then you have to throw in change-ups and stuff like that because you can't just do the best, most optimal thing and expect it to work. But what we saw in this round is an entire minute left, and CTs have pushed themselves off all this information. So now they're equally weak on both sides. They don't have 4 people to defend against A, where arch splits are actually very, very strong. 3 arch, 1 halls, 1 lane. That is way stronger than a 3-man setup on A, in my opinion. And then if they go B, the rotate is super long. So you really rely heavily on these guys getting kills. So let's see what happens. Also, they don't have the best guns. Another reason to go and try to get information, to try to get a kill, you don't even have good enough guns. Oh, okay, so that's good. That's good. The flash retake at mid is very good. But they've actually pushed up 2 people on banana. Ethan goes and gets 1 frag at B. Wide swings out at A. Cirque found a good spot tucked into the site. And Pollo, will he be able to get this 1 frag? Nope. Cirque plays the box perfectly. That almost worked out really well for Torqued, who had 2 people ready at B to bring players back after making all of that mid presence. They did cause NRG to rotate. So NRG were fortunate to hit their shots. Fortunate that Torque didn't have more people there. They had no idea because they didn't have information. That they were pushed up that far. This is almost like a confirmation bias, in my opinion, to win rounds like that. Because a lot of teams don't value information as much as they should. So now Daps is here, top banana, spotting down. Pretty much the 4-man setup at A. I don't know. I think Ethan could probably see all the way into Arch. Ugly here is here as a 2nd man. I think Daps decided to fall back in, so now they're going into a passive setup. This can be fine passive setup if it's an eco round, but it does get scary as we saw. There was a round from NRG where they got into B because they got so close to the site, and again, you rely heavily on the shots being hit now. Daps is having a lot of pressure put on him at quad. He's dealing with it quite well. Dealing with it quite well, actually. Swag kind of lurking around. Why did Daps speak there? Because Swag could have been walking up on him the whole time. That was an incredible presence of mind from Breeze. I don't know if Pollo threw a flash. I don't think he would have. And wow, making an extremely risky play to try to get a kill so that he can plant the bomb in the 1v1. He might have spent a little bit too much time on that because in the 1v1, if you put the bomb down, the other guy could peek him. Swag, however, is the type of player to potentially, even without 4 seconds remaining, try to fake a bomb plant. So they might have respected it. Your ideal situation when you go for a plant is to try to make it a 1v1 first. That doesn't mean you do that every time, but honestly, I'd say most of the time. You're trying your hardest to use the time left on the clock to make it a 1v1. Because you don't want the other team to be able to group up and push together and trade 100% guarantee a trade, or 99% guarantee a trade. They're honestly being a little bit timid on banana. All these nades have gone out, but they've smoked off for the top of it. Ethan's opted in for the boost. They actually just wanted to clear stuff out. See if they again fall passive. Daps rotates out. So yeah, they can rotate out with this information. It looks like Ethan might be jump spotting. Yep. Oh, dude. That's going to shake things up. This is a tense setup from NRG. It's really awkward because, you know, some of these rounds will happen because this is Counter-Strike, but they did what they needed to do. They just, you know, maybe for Ethan in retrospect, and I don't want to post-rationalize this because it's not fair to Ethan. He was jump spotting, which is, you would think that would be safe, but maybe if he didn't jump so fast, he wouldn't have been on his screen for 2 jumps or something like that. If you just picked once in a while to jump, but then there's other risks involved with that, you know, suddenly the wall becomes a blind spot and someone could sneak by. So I honestly would just chalk it up to him being a little bit unlucky because he was spotting down and he was trying to jump spot as opposed to even like show his body to peek. Nice shot was hit. And Daps now is just, it's literally like understands the problem and is going to try to rush in to save everybody's life. This is actually quite a good result for him to even stay alive. Going farther though, that's tough. I think he heard the smoke go down in schools and thought, all right, potential that no one pushed up here. I can go and try to get position, maybe get off a spam. But now his teammates are 3v4, so yeah, there's a very low chance that you can actually win. If it was 4-4, they actually had quite a bit of utility. I think there's a lot of reasons why they would have gone for it if Daps found a way to stay alive. This is pretty rough just because, you know, 5 rounds into the half, but NRG have already almost lost the whole game, and we've only seen the second full buy, I think, for NRG. But for one of them to start in with such a tragedy, with Ethan getting one tapped on the jump spot, it's rough. But at the end of the day, those are just excuses, right? Because there's so many more rounds, another whole half to look at, and honestly, there are probably a lot of things that NRG would have done differently if they would could run it back. You know, certainly, I mean, as the underdog, whether or not you feel like the underdog, because I feel like Torque don't feel like they're the underdog, but if you're looked at as the underdog, there's always going to be the benefit of being the lesser understood team, the more surprising team, and you also have the advantage of the other team just having some giant ego versus you. Who knows how much it actually affected them though. I mean, we heard the voice comms, but sometimes that's just your team talking to each other in a way that's like, it's like camaraderie almost, you know, like fuck these guys, you know, but you don't actually mean like you hate them as people. You're just kind of saying it, and that's why team comms should probably be private. Even though I have dead talk on. I only have dead talk on, honestly, because I forgot to turn it off. I wonder if this is the Cloud9 take of B. Wow, that was a...
I gotta take a piss, pause, I'm not back.
That was a really nice double entry from Swag, who actually plays on quite a low sensitivity. Just I don't know what it is right now. So here's the situation we were talking about before, where Kusta
Their money's so fucking shit.
is on banana, and they used a smoke on banana last time, and or Steel played banana really patiently that one round and killed Fugly, and then killed Cirque as he came to retake. Well, Kusta can sit here and listen. He can peek very easily and safely. Actually comes out early because he knows Reese has decided to clear out everything but that, and that's just game sense. But yeah. And if you hear someone running to you, banana, you could fall back to the wall. It gets really hard and time consuming to try to kill someone on banana in the 1v1. So as much as you do want to pepper in some different spots, banana is probably like priority destination for a lot of the plant spots, but specifically default. What could be the last round of the entire thing. Basically nothing to work with for the CTs. If I'm torqued, let's see what they do. No, let's hang out. Let's spend the first 15-20 seconds just making sure they aren't running down mid. Okay, now that they haven't done that, we have the nade advantage, we have the man advantage. Well, we have the even numbers, and we have better guns. Well, let's start to push up slowly. I would probably avoid halls if I know that they're like forcing or whatever. Player doesn't even clear his close left. Actually, that could have been a free frag. But since they do it, the reward is that there's 10 more spots where they know the CTs aren't. Still going to be probably fearful of a stack. This is, in my opinion, the most optimal situation for the terrorists. The other team's playing 2-3. They forced up. They aren't pushing for information. They've given up halls. They don't. The T's don't know that. But if they decide to execute on a site, now they have the best possible chance on both sides. They're the most equal and both favorable. The 3R trap. My absolute favorite A take. Guy in halls is actually avoided. Fugly's got an MP9 and that's it. Everybody dies. And it's just Daps and his Pengu avatar to keep him company. What more can you say? I feel like it's another game that Torque weren't even pushed to that like level 2. I would have liked to see a longer second half because, I mean, even on the round they did win, which was kind of the force. I feel like they didn't play it properly enough. I had a tweet that was like, NRG are one of the best Inferno teams we have right now, except for when they play a little bit too passively on TD side, and that was still a recurring issue. I personally just, it's honestly a problem that FaZe has, SK has, and you know, I'm not as good as those guys, but I've watched all their games, and I can just tell you from teams that do it right, honestly, Astralis do banana right, Liquid do banana right. That's like a recurring theme. It's relying too heavily on denying entries with the 2 or 3 players on your site than trying to influence those rotates as much as possible, especially when you have the utility advantage. I'm telling y'all! And as everybody gets better and better at Inferno, it's going to be more difficult and honestly be the site of fantastic LAN matches to come. But it's going to be a lot more of an even playing field moving forward. So yeah, that's it. That's the end of the video. This is the 2 maps that they won. They lost Overpass, which feels like maybe NRG's strongest map right now, but Inferno is still way up there. I would say, from what I saw, Overpass looks like number 1, Inferno looks like number 2. I straight up learned a bunch of stuff from NRG's Overpass, and their Inferno has a couple of things I personally would change if I could. But Torque looked like they played well. The setups were nice. Poyo and AZK were really notable on lane. They had a couple of very important rounds, and I think only had like between 5 and 10 kills in the first half, but they won very important rounds in rounds where the other team was rifling, so it was like really good stuff. Deal had a particularly great first half. The first thing that was good that he did was when they pop flash mid for him to peek, as they called out that there was multiple players from NRG on banana, so that's the information in the map control that I was talking about. And so the idea also is that if you get a kill going to seek out information, which you should try to fight for even though it's scary, then you can back up into a passive setup and justify it because there's not 5 CTs coming to your site, there's only 4 or 3 or whatever. But until that point, don't just give terrorists too much space in the 5v5. And yeah, alright, so if you want to do more, let me know. Write me a comment and leave me a like. Check out store.boxer.gg. Our staple items are going to be restocked at the end of the month. On the 1st, we get their new merch drop. It's going to hit the store, and we got no sponsors on this YouTube channel, just the merchandise store, and we're making it a really cool it's not just Londa's Gaming. It's not just Londa's Gaming t-shirts everywhere. It gets Boxer, it's his own thing. We have designers, we're doing photo shoots. We're flying Nathan in at the end of the month to do marketing and make a couple cool videos and doing really cool shit. We care about the clothes, so you want to buy the clothes? It's quid pro row. You get a sick delivery with, you know, high quality merchandise that looks good, and then we make money so that we can make more cool clothes. Better than donating. All right.